Vážení milí adventuristi, vítejte u 11. části Lost Horizon a my jsme ve Wewelsburgu na nádraží a pokusíme se dostat na hrad, což nebude úplně zřejmě jednoduché a co je nejdůležitější, pokusím se tam dostat bez návodu. Což bude trošku těžší, ale jdeme na to.
An old carriage sitting on the siding.
Každopádně, když nebudu vědět,
An old carriage sitting on the siding.
A použiju návod jako vždy. Cedule.
The sign's covered with a thick layer of moss. I'll try and scratch the moss away. There it is.
Nějaký důl.
Two tools crossed. A hammer and a pickaxe. This is either a mine or the Center for Dyslexic Soviets.
Dyslektické Rusy.
The sign next to the gate says that this is the entrance to a mine. It won't open as long as it's chained up. This rusty old chain is keeping the door closed. Impossible. I can't get it off by hand.
Brána. Brezína.
That's a hand car. They use it to travel up and down the tracks to change signals and whatnot. Must be a hard job. At least it looks like a downhill start. The handcar won't go anywhere as long as it's tied up. This rope prevents the handcar from rolling onto the main track. It's tied tight.
Rozváž. Potřeba si nůž.
If it doesn't stop raining, this barrel is going to overflow. My hands aren't dirty. There's a thin steel cable hanging here. The station's being renovated, so everyone has to wait on the platform in the cold. Typical. Could come in handy. Some facts on local history. According to this, the castle was built in the 11th century. The text refers to many renovations and extensions, as well as changes in ownership. Hang on a minute. This could be interesting. The mountain under the castle has an old tunnel system. Ore was mined there from the 18th century onwards. The lords of the castle used the passages of the mines as a hiding place or escape route during times of siege. However, the tunnels were closed down just before the war. That means there was once a connection between the mine and the castle. Maybe it still exists.
Samozřejmě, že to tak bude. Automat na sladkosti.
It's a fizzy sweet dispenser. I need a coin.
Coina nemáme.
Wewelsburg Castle has its own station, but visitors are no longer allowed to visit the castle. This place should look more closely at the needs of its tourists. The station's being renovated. An axe. The station guard won't be happy if I remove his firefighting equipment. It's closed for renovations, apparently. I don't envy him at all. He sits in the rain guarding an empty platform at a tiny, deserted station. But then, things aren't a great deal better for me. He can't help me at the moment. It's a memorial cross. Seen better days. There are some candles burning on the pedestal in front of it. There are 5 candles here. I'm sure nobody will mind if I take a candle with me.
Jednu berem. Je zapálená. Musí být velice zajímavé to u sebe nosit, to zapálené. Drát. Použít na ten řetěz, ale proč? Vlastně bude.
The cable's pretty rough. It could probably be used as a saw, but it's not enough to sever an iron chain.
To by bylo moc easy.
I should be able to saw through the rope. Then the handcar will roll past the platform. That should keep the guard occupied for a moment or two. Then I'll have some peace and quiet to find the entrance to the mine. Let's go.
Terezína ujede.
What the? Stop! Halt!
Pány pryč. Každopádně nějak se musíme ještě dostat do toho, že jo?
It's closed for renovation.
Rekonstrukce, jasně. A jdeme do
That'll take me to Buren. I need to get to the castle.
Ano.
The Piri Reis map is up there in Wavelsburg Castle. I need to get inside. Unfortunately, the Nazis have sealed off the entire area.
Takže si můžu vzít tu sekeru, že jo, vlastně teď už.
As long as no one complains, do what you like.
Přesně. Budu potřebovat tu minci, nebo to rozjebnu? Nerozjebnu. Taková stanice. A myslím, že asi víme, na co tu sekeru použijem. Plus minus.
One powerful blow to this rusty chain should be enough.
Voila.
It's pitch black in there. What if the candle goes out?
Prostě to máš furt něco. Co bys si asi jako na to chtěl dát?
According to the sign next to the gate, this is the entrance to a mine. And if I understand the text on the info board, these tunnels may have connected up to the castle at one point. It's got to be worth a shot.
Tady je lucerna. Jsme ani neviděli. Aha, ono totiž tady píše v starý vagon a hnedka nad tím je lucerna.
One of the train's rear lanterns. It's screwed securely to the carriage.
Sekira.
It's good to get rid of some pent-up aggression every now and again.
Jde do toho všechno. Přesně. Tak, svíčku dáme do
I'll put
lucerny.
the candle in the lantern.
Voda. Myslím, že můžeme jít.
Christ, it's a bloody maze down here. I've got no choice. It's my only way into the castle. Besides, in my experience, you find the most useful things in the queerest places.
Tady jsi nakecal. Já se vůbec nebojím. To se nedá nic hledat, co? To určitě najdem. Tak v pohodě. Jsme jít jako víc doleva, ne? Logicky. Kurňa. To je diablovka, není? Tak tudy... Asi po kolejích, ne? Já bych šel po kolejích. Stíral bych tam Rusu. Po kolejích. Ne každý bude po kolejích. Aha. Tady je odbočka. Kole je aut. Co, to se někam vrací. Počkej. Kam jdeš? Jak střelený, jo. To je automat, tam už je prázdná chodba. Dobrá, co je tady? Počkej, tam byla taky nějaká. Počkej, potoč se, pojď sem. Chlapte. Kostra.
Poor guy. Let's hope I don't end up like him. This place is a maze.
It's a maze, it's a maze. A tak půjdeme sem tady. Vypadá to, že nějaký východ. Že by? Asi jo.
Ah, the stairs. These steps are pretty steep. This must be the way up into the castle. That was easier than I expected. I hope I haven't overlooked anything useful in these passages. I think I've ended up in the castle. I never thought this would actually work. Lucky there's no one here. This is some kind of workshop. I suppose it'd be too much to ask to climb out of the mines and run straight into the map. Well, exploring never gets boring. That is what they say, isn't it?
A problém je ten, že tam v těch chodbách bylo možná něco k sebrání. A v inventáři blablabla. Je tam hrnec a kostlivec. Hrnec seberte. Takže vedle toho kostlivce byl hrnec. Fajn, musím jít zpátky. Tam byly dvě lupy. Já jsem si prohlídnul jenom tu jednu. Toho kostlivce. A to je v pohodě. Je tady hrnec. Pane hrnec. Tak, seber ho. Fajn. Jdeme zpátky. Pojď, Fentone. Ty starý mladý kmete. Jdeme nahoru. Tak, co tady? Hák.
There's a hook here.
Sebrat.
A threaded hook that's been screwed into the wall. It won't pull out. I might be able to bend it or break it, but I can't pull it out of the beam in one piece. A dusty old curtain. A filthy mirror.
Špinavé zrcadlo.
An authentic German nutcracker. I always wanted one of these old-style nutcrackers. A fire's burning. Very cozy. This fire would be comforting, if I wasn't deep behind enemy lines on a life or death mission.
To je docela dost pavučin, popravdě.
Nothing remarkable about the chimney itself. Far more interesting are the rungs built into the brickwork here.
Taky příčky. Jo, tyhle. Myslí. Komín ohniště, komín ohniště. Ruční vrták.
It's a hand drill.
Je můj miláš.
A hand drill. It's a traditional nutcracker. The lever on the little man's back opens his mouth. Insert nut and close mouth. Ugh. Oh, it's okay. The mirror's just coated with a thick, greasy layer of filth. I thought that was my face for a moment there. An old dented pot with a long wooden handle.
Tak to je asi všechno, co jsme tady mohli rozkoumat.
How are you coming along with the inventory?
Nearly finished, Herr Feldwebel. I still need to catalogue the objects from Berlin.
Okay, but it is essential that we finish the inventory today. The remaining exhibits will be arriving from Berlin tomorrow.
Jawohl, Herr Feldwebel.
Did he say inventory? Maybe it says where the Piri Reis map is stored. If only I could get a look over his shoulder.
Ah. To je zrcadlo, budeme muset použít to naše zrcadlo a nějak odrazem.
Mirrors like that reflect light onto the desk they're positioned over. Not much use to him after sunset, but it might let me get a look at those documents if I wasn't so far away.
So far away.
He's working on an inventory. If only I could get a look at it, it might be a nice shortcut to the Piri Reis map. Could save me trawling this castle for the next 3 hours. Probably won't. He's studying a map. As long as he's occupied, I don't really care what he's doing. And I always thought I was the one carrying too much weight. Huh, I joke, but seriously, I ought to get down the gym. I can't lug an entire set of armor around with me for 3 reasons. First, it's dead heavy. Second, it'll make me look silly. And third, this is supposed to be a stealth mission. I'll just take the gauntlets, because they're cool.
Teda, rozum.
Leather-lined gauntlets. Soft on the inside, but with a tough exterior. Just like Fenton Paddock.
A boar pelt.
Kožešina? No to je kliška, ne? To je to konec.
Well, it's not Argali, but it'll do.
Skvělý jsou ty odkazy už na ty... Relace jde do průchodu. Jsme byli v dílně, že jo? Byli jsme v dílně. A jo. Dobře, no, nahoru, ještě do průchodu a... ven. Cínoví vojáčci.
Tin soldiers. They look pretty old. I'll take some with me as backup, in case I get caught. A candlestick without a candle. So, just a stick then.
Všechno potřebuješ, to je úplně jasný.
A small wooden table. Moving it would make way too much noise. A huge crack, though by no means a crevasse. Thank God. It's a long, thin crack in the wall.
Tin soldiers wearing Prussian uniforms from the last century. A silver candlestick. A bristly wild boar pelt.
Nice view.
To je fakt pretty.
A tower. Nazis. I hate these guys. Nazis. I hate these... I can see a few houses down there. That must be the villager Buren the guy at the station mentioned. It's too dark and I'm too far away to make out any details. There's probably a lot fewer people who'd be happy to shoot me on sight down in the village. But what can you do? A telescope mounted on the railing. I see... trees. The telescope's pointing toward the forest, and... I can't turn it. It seems to have rusted. A chimney. Believe it or not, I can't reach it from here. It's a tower.
Tady asi zatím ne, nic, ale určitě tam něco bude prostě. Něco s tím teleskopem, s zrcadlem.
I can hear voices in that direction. Better steer clear.
Tak, co teď?
I hope you like your new home, guys.
Cínoví vojáčci do rnce, to znamená, že je rozpustíme na ohni. Neptejte se mě proč, ale prostě to udělám.
Sorry guys, but sacrifice is just an intrinsic part of war. That was quick. They've melted down like butter.
Hned s
I'll
rozstavením
pour
cínem.
some of the molten tin into the hollow in the candlestick.
Máš tu dutiny cínu.
Don't ask me how I did it, but I've bored out the solidified tin. It's now a lovely round shape. Almost like a coin, you might say.
Vůbec se mě neptejte, proč jsem něco dělal. Teď mám minci. Prázdný svícen hrnec. Takže bych dostal bonbon. Ještě tady je to lanko. Co s bonbonem? Protože vlastně můžu se ještě vrátit zpátky a hodit tu minci do toho automatu, což určitě nějak bude poplatné. A to zkusím udělat, nic jiného mě teďka stejně asi nenapadá.
I think I know how to get to the station, and I've seen all there is to see in the mine. I'll take the quick route.
To není špatný nápad.
What do you know? It actually worked. I could make a mint. Get it? Because I'm making money to use in a sweet. You know what? Never mind. 4 fizzy sweets fell out the bottom.
Čtyři šumivý. Proč? Tady už asi nic nebudu potřebovat.
I think I know the route pretty well now. Nothing interesting left in the mine.
Jo, dokecej se a jdeme. Svícen, ohniště. Odmontovat ten hák potřebuju nějak. Což je jedna z věcí. Ne. Ne.
Of course. I can just use the nutcracker to unscrew the hook. Why didn't I think of that before?
No jedině.
I'll jam the hook into his mouth, and then unscrew it like a pair of pliers.
Máme hák. Máme lucernu.
Ugh!
Rubbing a greasy mirror with a greasy animal pelt will only make it, well, greasier.
Což chceš říct tím co?
I could probably use the pelt as a fire blanket, but I might need the fire later. I'll make a mental note to come back to it.
Aha. Ještě mám potřeba oheň. Takže tudy se pak dostanu nahoru. Což je důležitý vědět. Tady už myslím, že nic úplně nebude. To dračí oko asi budu potřebovat. Tady něco rozjebat. To lanko. Taky ne. Takže půjdu sem. Tady je ta trhlina. To je dost důležité. Abych tam udělal díru do té trhliny. Nevím proč. Prostě ji tam dělám.
I'll screw the hook into the crack.
Tak, nikdo tě samozřejmě neslyšel.
You can't see a thing in this mirror. So what's the point in
Tohle není
hanging it
co vidět.
anywhere?
Já zkusím vyjít ven a možná umýt jako na dešti. Což by bylo taky logický. S tím dalekohledem.
The telescope's attached with a metal clamp. Maybe I can loosen it with the drill.
Máme dalekohled. Maybe. A potřebuji nějakou vodu nebo něco. Čím to umejt?
It's obviously been exposed to the elements, but it still seems to work. Can't help but feel I'd look more dashing with a sword.
Tohleto. Oheň ještě budu potřebovat. Na co to nevím, ale... Teď úplně jak nic nenapadá. Tohle to zrcadlo. Počkej, já bych mohl použít dalekohled na to. Co? Vyšlo.
It's working. I can make out the documents large as life, but... damn it. They're back to front because of the mirror. I can't read it like this.
Ty musíš použít i to druhý zrcadlo, aby se srovnali zpátky, že jo? Ty se musíš dívat do druhého zrcadla, který je zase jako narovná. Tím se dostáváme k tomu nejhlavnějšímu. Sem přijde to zrcadlo, ale jak ho vyčistit?
I can hear voices in that direction. Better
V
steer
tom
clear.
sudu jak je voda. No jasně. Na nádraží. Nádraží, taková hovadina.
I'll need more than water to get the grease off.
Co bys ho tě chtěl? Šumivý bombony? To
The
je
sweets will probably dissolve in the rainwater.
No právě, a budou šumět.
These fizzy sweets contain sugar, citric acid, flavoring and coloring. Yum. I'll pour some water into the pot.
Tak, mám hrnci vodu. Hodím do toho ty
The
bombony.
sweets are dissolving in the water.
Ano. A... Zkusím to takhle vyčistit.
Pouring lemon water on the mirror won't be enough to dissolve the grease.
Můžu na to...
I've soaked the pelt
Kance.
with lemon water.
A teď na to zrcadlo.
Spick and span.
That's all. Tak, pověsíme tam zrcadlo a dalekohledem se podíváme do toho pověšeného zrcadla. A měl by to být cajk.
Okay, I'll hang the mirror up here.
To je nádhera.
Praise be the laws of optics. I can make out every word. If the soldier would just move his hand a little to the side, then... Perfect. There it is. Exhibit 104C. The Piri Reis map, stored in the crypt in the North Tower. The problem with answers is they always give rise to new questions. Where the devil is the North Tower?
Severní věž je pravá nebo levá?
The inventory list I saw in the library says that the items the Tula Society is studying, including the Piri Reis map, are located in the castle's north tower. But which way is north? I need to find out before anyone cottons onto me.
Kde je sever?
According to the inventory list, the Piri Reis, but without the... I need to work...
To já nevím jak zjistit. Myslím, že... Moment.
That's better. Now I can make out the individual buildings. The village church. Wait a moment. Churches always point west, don't they? With the altar in the east. The main entrance is facing away from me. So... Looking at the church, The two small towers to my left and right must be on the east-west axis, so the north tower must be on the other side of the castle. But how am I supposed to get all the way over there?
Tak už víme, že tohle je severní. Nějak přes ten komín, ale to nevím, jestli jde v téhle bouřce.
I already know the towers to my left and right are on that means the castle's...
Jdem uhasit oheň. To je asi jediné, co jako můžeme dělat. Všem šeleva. Já zase nemám vodu? Ale ne. Ještě chytá tu drezínu.
I'll pour some water into the pot.
Ber vodu. Na celém hradě není voda.
I'd need a lot more water. This isn't going to work.
To možná namočíme toho kance? Taky ne. More water? Are you normal? Do čeho to dát?
I think I can safely put the fire out now. I'll just throw the skin over. Great, the fire's out. Though it now smells like a wild pig's marital sty in here.
Končím do 5, jo. Co teď? Ples nahoru.
Now the fire's out, I can see the ladder rungs more clearly. They definitely lead up to the roof. I can't see right up to the top from here, but these rungs in the side of the chimney must lead up to the roof. The ladder rungs are still too hot to hold. The gloves should protect me from the heat, climbing up the chimney to steal people's treasured possessions. I'm like the anti-Santa, only trimmer. Luckily, I'm not afraid of heights, or as we've established, anything at all. Apart from our Garleys. And Kim, when she's in a huff.
Hezky pomalu. Už tamhle dozadu. Pak. Mám ještě přístup k inventáři, což se mi samozřejmě nelíbí. Ale tyhle věci... co bych tady eventuálně mohl použít.
That must be the North Tower, where the Tula Society is storing its research, according to the inventory. That includes the Peri Reese map.
Tak, kliknu to na věž. No, bude musel si otevřít to okno, kdo ví. Je tady malebný pohled na krásnou přírodu. Můžu si to vychutnat.
I'll try to get in through one of the windows. Okay, I've reached the North Tower, but I don't see any ancient research objects or artifacts. The inventory said the items are kept in the crypt. Thinking about it, this doesn't really look like a crypt to me. It must be one floor lower. I'll have to find a way down. The North Tower Crypt. This is where all the Tula Society's research objects are supposed to be held. I've got to get down there. A round stone slab with some kind of occult symbol. This slab's separate from the rest of the floor. I can see the seam running along the edges. That said, I can't lift it with my bare hands. A massive chandelier. I can't reach it from here. This chain connects the chandelier to that crank. This crank lowers the old chandelier. They must have used it for lighting candles back in the day. Let's see if the crank handle still works.
Nejdám ten svíce. Takhle, no. Rozmaň to sekeru. To je zámek tady. Odstrašující.
It's locked.
It's locked. Tak to rozjebně, ne? Lanko na lustr, na řetěz. Tu sekeru. Nebo odvrtat. Lustr. Se nějak nezdá. Mistře. Tam tu lucernu. Něco na ten lustr se musí použít, si myslím. Louskáček. Nope. Vrták. Nope. Rukavice. Ne. Svícen. Ne. Dalekohled. Ne. Vodu. Ne. To je propadená situace. Tohle jezdí, to není nějaký problém. Buď to něco musíme dát na tu kamennou desku. Což tak opřejmě zase budu muset dělat pokusem omyl. Rukavice určitě taky ne. To něco odvrtá.
Let's attack this thing.
O 35 minut později.
There. I've drilled a small hole.
Máš tam dírku.
I've drilled a small hole into the stone slab.
Ty mě děsíš, ty mě děsíš. Bude nějak to budu muset nějak, jo už vím, počkej. Je tam dírka a já to prostě pak budu muset vyzvednout nahoru. Takže budu muset to nějak spojit drátem, ocelové lanko. Ale... Což teďka nějak...
Thin steel cable.
Teďka nějak nefunguje. Sekera nic. Zkusím to spustit. Budu potřebovat něco, aby se tam zaháklo, zaseklo, nebo... V podstatě je to dobré, ale... Něco je použít na ten lustr. Lucerna, lanko. To musím přijít, přece jsem úplně debil. Takhle to pak vyzvednu nahoru, ale potřebuji to nějak spojit, což... Momentálně se napadá, co to bude s tím lankem? No, tam tak jako nějak nejde připojit. Dveře taky otevřít nejdou. Podívám se do návodu, nebudu se s tím. Vidíte po schodech, já tady nic nevidím. Pravo točte klikou, abyste snížili lustr a pak ji zase zvedněte. Použijte vrták a do díry umístěte hák. Takže já ten hák budu muset jít sebrat. Tak to mě nenapadlo teda. Ale je to trošku logický, ale nejsem zvyklý. Počkej, kam jdeš? Nejsem zvyklý se vracet jakoby... Seber to zrcadlo. Jakoby
I'll
zpět.
take it down again.
Je to trošku logický, ale já už jsem zvyklý, že si ty věci použiju.
I'll unscrew the hook.
Tak už se nepoužiju po druhý. A budíš, to je takový. Do dílny. ven. Severní věž. No, teď už to dává trošku smysl. Je taky byla jedna indicie.
I've screwed the hook into the drill hole. It's lodged pretty tight.
A dáme lustr dolů.
Fenton, you old dog, you've done it again. The chandelier is attached to the hook, which is screwed into the slab in the floor. When I turn the crank, the whole thing comes away. Shame there's nobody here to congratulate me.
Není, no.
Ah, there's a cable here. Maybe I can climb down on it. Hopefully it'll take my weight. Looks like I'm in the right place, finally. Not that I'm complaining. There's a sort of dossier on this podium. I'll just skim it quickly. It outlines the Tula Society's central objectives. According to this, the Society was founded in the early 1920s with the aim of restoring the knowledge of lost civilizations for its own use. The Tula Society's influence extends into the highest echelons of the German Reich. This gives them complete carte blanche on their activities. They can do whatever the hell they like. Seems they launched a project codenamed Vril under the direction of our old friend, Countess von Hagenhild. The focus of this project is the search for Shambhala. The Tula Society believes that a vast store of ancient knowledge is being hoarded there. The source of morphogenetic fields. Morphogenetic fields? Never heard of them. But then it does ring true with what Professor Hayes was talking about, a store of ancient knowledge. If I remember the professor's description correctly, the hunters and herders of Shambhala suddenly developed into a flourishing and highly advanced society. Hayes reckons some sort of mysterious energy was responsible for the tribe's development. Is that what they mean by morphogenetic fields? The documents are under lock and key behind a thick sheet of glass. I climbed down on this cable. Lucky it held my weight. Must be more of the Tula Society's artifacts and research objects. It could take days to search all these boxes for the Piri-Reis map. These documents contain the research results of a scientist by the name of Aldrich von Hagenhild. Must be some relative of the Countess. Von Hagenhild spent his time searching for the World Soul. Christ, can't these people just use sensible names? The basis for von Hagenhild's research was the concept that for an organism to develop as it should, there must be some immaterial power steering it in the right direction. Basically an invisible blueprint determining form and growth. So, why does a rabbit develop the way it does? And why does a pine tree become a pine tree? Who's the architect? What tells them to grow bark? Or fancy lady rabbits? Looks like these questions led von Hagenhild to believe there was some invisible, imperceptible field that controls the development of an organism. He called it morphogenetics. Von Hagenhild explains the holistic aspect of self-organizing systems with his theory of morphogenetic fields. Basically, the field stores forms or behavioral patterns that every member of a species draws from and adds to. This was his Western take on something the East had known for some time. In Far Eastern philosophy, people refer to his morphogenetic fields as the divine essence of nature, or as the soul. He thought he'd identified the soul. He didn't think the soul was a spiritual thing. He thought it was a fundamental principle of nature that had been warped and confused by religions the world over. He even thought he had proof. He refers to certain experiments he carried out. Ugh. This is a lot of information to take in. Von Hagenhild really believed that in these morphogenetic fields, he'd identified the soul, the central power behind all living things.
Tak tady se hra pouští na, řekl bych, docela tenký let, protože moc filozofie na humoristickou hru, bych řekl. Každopádně asi všichni víme, co tím chtěl říct. Mr. Fenton. Nebo ne?
These documents refer to several experiments which are supposed to prove the existence of morphogenetic fields. Von Hagenhild wanted to prove that every species obtains its entire being, its form, its instincts, from these fields, like some kind of collective memory. These inherited memories control not just the form, but also the behavior, the capabilities, and the knowledge of the relevant species. He called it a group soul. Experiment number 1. The rat experiment. The experiment investigated the capability of rats to find their way through a maze. At the beginning of the experiment, the rats needed 165 attempts before they could get through the maze without a mistake. But a few rat generations later, the number of attempts had dropped to 20. Conclusion. The first batch of rats learned how to navigate the maze, and this instinct was somehow added to the rat's group soul. When later rats navigated the maze, they somehow had access to this ancestral memory, even if the rats weren't directly related. Experiment number 2. The ape experiment. 2 ape colonies of the same species were isolated and observed on 2 small islands in the Indian Ocean. Von Hagenhild's team taught the apes on one island a few new behavioral patterns. The other colony was left undisturbed and uninfluenced, so while the apes on the first island are learning how to open tins and the like, the others are eating bananas. Several months later, the apes on the undisturbed island began displaying these new skills, even though they'd never come into contact with the other colony. Von Hagenhild's conclusion: all members of a species are connected by morphogenetic fields. They share a subconscious collective memory. He thought this theory could explain a lot. Animals' sense for impending danger, telepathy, sixth sense in humans. Von Hagenhild also concludes that members of a group can learn something new at a far quicker pace when the vast majority of members of that same group have already acquired the knowledge. These fields are basically stores of information that are effective across space, and in rare cases even time. Von Hagenhild presumes this would go some way towards explaining premonitions. Human beings sporadically accessing morphogenetic fields from varying points in the future. It all sounds very far-fetched, but then it does explain a lot. Supposing morphogenetic fields really exist, they'd be the answer to problems science has been trying to solve for centuries. And if all these fields add up, if there's some kind of central repository of all this information, Christ! It'd basically be the scientific definition of God. I'm beginning to understand why the Tula Society's quite so interested. And if there's even the slightest chance it's all true, why they need to be stopped.
To bude ono. To bude ono.
Is this the Piri Reis map? It's hand-drawn, ancient. There are some notes next to it. Finally, von Hagenhild became convinced that there must be a type of definitive field from which all other fields are derived. All manifestations have an origin. He tried to back this up with historical evidence. A world soul, for instance, had been proposed by Plato over 2,000 years ago. But what really convinced him was the discovery of an old, mysterious map of the world, drawn by the Ottoman general Piri Reis. I knew it! It's the map! Let's see. Further on in the text, von Hagenhild discovered that the general had drawn up the map in the 16th century, using sources which were thousands of years old. But how could they have known at that time what the world looked like? He posed the theory that a civilization had existed then, which possessed extraordinary knowledge and skill. He discovered a marking on the map, which was written in an unfamiliar language. Research in Far Eastern libraries revealed it was a long-forgotten Tibetan script. Once translated, it claimed the marking indicated the source of all knowledge, the center of the morphogenetic fields. It was a hidden valley in the Himalayas, Shambhala. Shortly before he died in 1934, von Hagenhild passed the responsibility of continuing the research onto his daughter. Professor Hayes was right. About everything. The Tula Society arrived at the exact same conclusion as he did. They were just one step ahead. Lucky I'm one step more. Richard used the first key to pass through the gate in that secret room in the monastery. I just need to find the second. The Nazis can't enter Shambhala without it, and as it happens, I have the eye, and I have the map. I just need to use them to find the location of the second key. My last hope of finding Richard is based on an ancient legend. Great. It's time to cross everything I've got. And I mean everything. Must be more of the Tula Society's artifacts and research objects.
Jsem to nějak vyndat?
Not a good idea. I might trigger an alarm.
Alarm.
Fingers crossed.
India.
I've come all this way, but I'm still a little surprised it actually worked. The Piri Reis map really is the map of the Guardians of Shambhala. Or at least it was drawn to their specifications. So Professor Hayes was also right in thinking the priests of Shambhala took the second key artifact to India and hid it in a temple there. And now I know exactly where to look. On the Kathiawar Peninsula, just north of Bombay. Thinking about it, I actually know the commander of the British regiment in Rajkot. If the old drunkard hasn't been transferred for disciplinary reasons again, I'm sure he'll lend me a hand. Or at least a decent bottle. Then, I'll just have to find the temple and get hold of the key artifact. What could be simpler?
Tak zase na cestách z Berlína do Indie. Hledat druhý klíč, který by nás měl, který samozřejmě hledají i spolek Tula, který by nás měl dostat do Šambaly. Tak, ke všemu tomu těm polím, který by měli nějak zlepšovat lidi, člověka a podobně. Což samozřejmě Němci chtějí, aby jim to pomohlo vyhrát válku.
Looks like the road ends here. This village is supposed to be the last settlement. Other than that, there's nothing but thick jungle in every direction. The commander of the local troops led me this far. But now I need to quiz a local about the temple. I have no idea where it is. Hello? Hello? Jesus, where is everyone? Looks like this place was abandoned pretty recently. Hello? Is anybody there?
The Nazis can't have been here already. Can they? Damn it. I'll have to find the temple on my own.
Tak. Blik, blik, blik. Blik, blik, blik a příštím díle budeme pokračovat. Protože už zase hrajeme necelou hodinu. To je bílá kožešina? To vypadá jak živý zvíře, ne? No, vypadá to zajímavě a jsme přibližně dle návodů. Nyní jsme na Kathiawarském poloostrově v Indii. Je to kapitola číslo 6. A odsaď bychom se měli dostat dost dobře do té Šambaly hned. A vypadá to, že to bude tak na 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dílů. Ono to je 11. díl plus 6, no těch 17-18 dílů asi bude, protože ta hra trvá 10-12 hodin cirka. Takže ještě opravdu pár dílů bude a já se budu těšit na další pokračování. Zatím nazdar a zůstaňte s Fentnem Pedokem.